Hi everyone and welcome for this new kind of tutorial, because today this video is going to focus on the project of painting the Heroquest box. This Heroquest box is going to be tool because we are going to see how I definitively paint all my board game with miniatures. By definition, there are a lot of miniatures, sometimes 100 or 50 miniatures, but by the way, that's always the same kind of board game and that's the same kind of project. So you can use this video to see if you find some tools, some tips to be sure to start and finish your project in time. We are going to see in introduction the big way. Do the introduction right now, and after that I'm going to open the box and start by making some class of miniatures who are going to be in the same kind of mini. So I'm going to make the different painting treatment on the same way on all these kind of miniatures, and at the end I'm going to explain you the different level of paint you can do, how many time that will take you just very quickly, and that will be finished, and you can more easily see in which direction you can start your project. Once again, that's only a toolbox for you. Don't necessarily try to make exactly in the same way than me. That's not necessarily the goal of this video, but that's just to give you some advice, some tips, so you can take it and use it by yourself just in the way you want. That's the most important things to remember. This kind of projects need to always be a pleasure to do, and have different kind of goal is always a good thing to be sure to start and finish your project in the best way, and by the way, always by having some fun to paint. You can always subscribe to the channel and click on the ring to be sure to don't remember to subscribe to the channel and click on the ring so you can know and see when I'm going to launch the next tutorial, which will be about directly the 3 different level of paint with simple wash, with highlights, and by the way, the last one will be for people who have some airbrush to mix brush and airbrush to be more efficient. And you can always comment if you like this kind of video, so I can know in which direction I'm going to go with my channel. Thanks again, and we are going to see and open this box and make this quick classment. I hope that's a good name in English. So let's go for this opening. So as you can see, we have different kind of miniatures. There are different kind of color, but for example, the first step is all the unique models is going to have some unique paint, just because I like to take more time on the characters. After that, you can see all the gray guys right here. It's the same model, so I'm going to paint it the same way at the same moment. This one is in green, but it's more like water characters, so it's going to be more like blue colors, so I'm going to paint separately the 3 different. And the different undead have some zombie and some so undead models, some skeleton, so I'm going to paint separately the zombie and the undead. And after you have the orcs, the green skin, and for that I'm going to separate the orcs models and the goblin models to have some different kind of aspects. At the end, I'm going to paint all the different scenery, and for example, I'm going to paint all the scenery like that, the doors, just directly with some gray and some wood elements in the separate step. For example, this one is going to be in stone, so I'm going to make in the same time than this one and this one. And this one is in wood, so I'm going to paint probably in the same way the different wood elements. In that way, I'm going to focus and step by step paint the different elements in the best way I can. Just focus on some few steps. For example, I'm going to paint the undead, and after I will take my time to paint one hero. I'm going to paint the four different cow warriors, and after I'm going to paint one hero. And step by step, they're going to give me some challenging process, and I'm going to always be focused and have my motivation. I'm going to show you very quickly how I paint in the different way. For example, the zombie, so you can see how many times and what's the result if I take 10 minutes, if I take 20 minutes, and step by step you can see, okay, I'm going to give this time to my hobby place, and that's all. That's the best way, I think, to start if you never paint, and that's the best way to evolve and have more and more skills if you paint and want to progress in that way. So let's go for the conclusion. So here we are, so we take a look, we make some different class of paint, and now we are going to choose one way to paint these miniatures. In a large specs, you have three different ways. The first one will be very easy one, because you are going to prime in white and after put some kind of contrast and ink paint just to have some different color. The second way will be to keep this first step and pushing a little bit more highlight to have a very nice and better result. And the last one will be a mix between airbrush and brush, and will be perfect if you already have an airbrush, or if you like the way I'm going to show you how to paint with an airbrush. You are going to see directly training with these different methods, probably the next week. I'm going to show you on one kind of miniatures, the three different methods, so you can make your choice. And remember that the first method is going to take you something like 15 minutes. The second method will take you 15 more minutes, so that's going to take an half hour to paint one miniatures. And the last one will be a little bit more efficient, so you can have a very nice result in a very, very low time. And by the way, I'm going to take really more time on the different hero, and I'm going to just reserve this tutorial for my boss on Patreon, because they support me every month, and that's very helpful when you create some content. So in that way you can choose, and you can always, for example, paint in the first way, the more easy way, so you can play with it. In the second time, you can always push your first level to the second level after you make some demo game and playing the game, and if you enjoy it, you can push your level, and that can be pretty good too. Remember, I'm going to paint all the boxes, but for example, if you have a game into the one, you have some scenario, and this scenario this mission is going to have some specific miniatures, so you can just cut your different paint session by, for example, painting only for one mission, and step by step make the different mission. That can be a pretty cool to separate everything in different goals, so you can have some achievements and be always motivated to continue your project. So here is the result, just with some contrast paint, very quickly, with some ink on a white primer. Remember, that's perfectly clean to play with, so don't hesitate to paint all like that before you are going to push at the second step. By the way, I give you some time. During this time, for example, if I take 10 minutes to make this, for example, you can take for you 20 minutes. That's not really important. The most important thing is to keep your pleasure to paint this miniature. That's the most important things. Remember that, and that's just to give you some idea about how many times that can take. That one take me 3 more times around, and that's going to be more fun to do. And you can always push your highlights a long time after you push your first color. So don't hesitate to play with and come back later to pushing more highlights on your miniatures. And to finish, this result is done by using airbrush and brush, and they're going to be more easy and more quick to do. I'm going to show you how I do that next week probably. And remember the most important thing is about keep your pleasure to paint and step-by-step challenge, and keep your motivation to continue to paint your game. Thanks again to see this video. I really hope you enjoy it. Don't hesitate to comment with your feedback about this kind of video, and see you soon for the next tutorial. Bye bye. Oh, I forget something. Just remember to try the game before you start the paint. Just because one time, for example, I paint Silver Tower from Games Workshop, and I tried it and it was not so good. So I paint during 2 months for one game, and I never play again. So remember that, just try the game. Be sure you are going to like it before you start this kind of project. That's very, very important. Thank you. Bye-bye.